In the 50-year history of the video game industry, we have seen many watershed moments that have expanded our definition of video games. These transformations are essential to the health of the industry because they create new possibilities for video games, keeping audiences engaged while broadening games appeal to new consumers. Some examples include the revitalization of the market, the introduction of 3D graphics, use of Internet in competitive multiplayer experiences, and most recently the skyrocketing success of free-to-play monetization. Each of these revolutions stems from advancements in technology, business, and marketing. But there is a trend booming that is harder to put one's finger on, a movement which does not descend from an evolution in technology or business. This trend is what I call creative gaming, a style of game design which offers an alternative way of approaching game development. In this article, I am going to trace the development of this new gaming paradigm, define its implications on the current state of game development, and postulate its future impact on the industry. But before I define what creative gaming is, it's important to define what our traditional approach has been thus far. For a long time, video games were understood in terms of challenge. Players of games are put on treadmills of increasing challenge, and given certain abilities to surmount these challenges. The fun is a result of the player learning to use her abilities to overcome these challenges. ESRAPHKOSTERS much indoctrinatory of fun lays out. Every arcade game followed this formula, and nearly every console PC game since also fits this definition. It's an immensely successful design that has powered the largest entertainment industry in human history. This challenge-based design has also proven to be highly flexible. Different twists of gameplay result in what we call genres, which appeal to unique audiences. The challenge-based approach has also produced massively popular brands and characters, a necessary ingredient for consistent success and audience engagement in modern popular entertainment, and has been proven a successful method of delivery for incredible storytelling and artistic experiences, essential for the medium's legitimacy as a medium of art. However, this challenge-based game design is not the only approach for game development, and there is much evidence to believe an alternative philosophy is gaining traction, one which could be the next revolution to grow the video game industry. That design philosophy is creative gaming, and its core principle is simple: people like to make stuff. This philosophy is definitely not wood, an early example being Bill, that is pinball construction, set release in 1983, which simply gave players the tools to make their own digital pinball game. However, the creative gaming approach was rarely applied in a financially successful way, with most games continuing to focus on challenge, until the release of Woodbury in 1989, which sparked a new wave of creative games in the form of building management sims. In SimCity, players are given the ability to create their own city, and are not forced to complete game-defined challenges. The success of this design proved that challenge is not an essential ingredient to video games. Will Wright took this formula to new heights with the release of The Sims in 2000. In The Sims, there are absolutely no explicit challenges. Instead, the player spends her time creating building houses, personalizing characters, developing relationships, and creating stories. Players did not care that there was nothing to beat, nor an objective to accomplish. To an audience of casual gamers, this was actually one of the game's appeals. This was the realization of creative gaming in the market. One may find it surprising that, given its remarkable success, The Sims did not inspire competing titles, knockoffs, something one would suspect following the release of a fundamentally new blockbuster game. I think this fact highlights how unprepared the industry was to develop games beyond the challenge-based paradigm. It would take another decade for an outsider to pick up the mantle of creative gaming with another original, financially successful creative gaming experience. That game was Minecraft, a game in which players create structures from blocks. It was made by independent developer Notch, an outsider who had a sense that players wanted something different than the mostly similar challenge-based games, which continued to flood the market. Esteemed game designer Pat Molinette, Notch did not stick to the old rules of game design that most developers slavishly obey. The gift was giving people a world to play with. He said of the game, Minecraft trusts in people's ability to find their own entertainment. It is a glimpse into a new world of digital entertainment. This time, the power of creative gaming was not going to be ignored, as Minecraft would soon become the most successful video game of all time, and the recent announcement on Minecraft Earth proves its potential for further growth. One of Minecraft's biggest contributions to the creative gaming movement, beyond its steadfast focus on creative freedom, has to do with its redstone block, an element in the game which players can use to implement logic and control in their creations. It essentially allowed players to make their own games. It raised the level of complexity of the creation tools beyond that ever seen in creative games in the past. While many games had offered deep creation tools, rarely had they been presented as core mechanics of the game. The incredible functionality and the huge possibility space on Minecraft, especially presented in the context of the quickly maturing social media landscape, created a viral sensation and ignited a massive, passionate community. Players quickly got to work crafting virtual play spaces, including huge fictional cities, complex machines, and new methods of gameplay. While Notch and Mohan defined the core rules of the game, it was up to the players to make the game, to define what we actually do with it. This concept, that game making is a game in itself, set the tone for a new wave of video games. Game making as games campfire. Utilizing advancements in technology, developers were able to give players far more freedoms than was previously possible, along with the ability to share creations online. An early adopter of this approach, Media Molecule released Little Big Planet, a platform game that focused on user-created content. The year prior to the release of Minecraft, console game publishers, now confident in the approach of creative gaming, continued to release game-making games. 2010 saw the release of a national research, similar to Little Big Planet, but focused on the genre of kart racing games. Microsoft, inspired by Sony's efforts, released Project Spark in 2013, a more complete, user-friendly game creation tool, though limits on the game's creative freedoms prevented the game from becoming a smash hit. Roblox, a game-making game targeted towards MMOs, continued to gain popularity during this time, and it currently boasts 19 million active users under $5 billion evaluation. The approach of game-making games is successful for many reasons. First, as stated above, people like to make stuff, a desire that has been massively underserved in most challenge-based games. Also, because players are given part of the responsibility in making the game, the game succeed, and act as the developer's strongest marketing force. The bigger the game gets, the more their creations shine. These game-making games mark a step towards video games becoming live, service-based experiences, with never-ending user content extending the game's life. Instead of hiring dozens of designers to churn out tons of content, a core group of developers could add mood, often simple new features over time, and allow players to explore the design space and build tons of fresh new content. This trend of creative gaming has been massively successful thus far, but is still just coming to fruition. The sudden release of Ignite's creative mode in 2018 is an industrial admittance that game-making as games is an essential ingredient to the success of these live service-based games, even if only as a supplement to the main game experience. Given the massive success of Fortnite,